From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to Creature Guide Live. Welcome to also Dinosaur and Animal Talk. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the Himalaya mountain region from news.mongabay.com. Okay, what's the title? Okay, Nepali researchers yet again photographed snow leopard in same place. Well, this is interesting because I haven't heard of this before. So, this is quite astonishing. Granted, this was also a couple of years back, but this is an extremely rare sight, if at all ever taking place. So, this is most likely just, I'm guessing, Indian leopard from either further south or possibly maybe there's just a population of these leopards over in the Himalayas. It's very possible. But the interesting thing is that Indian leopards and snow leopards are close to the same size. Both of these animals can reach somewhere around 170 pounds or a little over 80 kilograms. So this is quite astonishing. Both of these individuals are using the same trackway or hiking trail, possibly. Nepali researchers capture images of a snow leopard and a common leopard in the same location in the Gaurashankar Conservation Area, adding to the evidence of habitat overlap between the two species. The recently analyzed images were taken by camera traps at an altitude of 4,260 meters or 13,976 feet in January 2023. Let's see. Blah blah blah. So the interesting thing is the Garish Shankar Conservation Area is located over in northeastern Nepal. Um, so this is above northeastern India, and within this region, the whole area is about 800 square miles or a little over 1,700 square kilometers. And you also have a wide variety of ungulates within the region that both these leopards prey on. And what I mean by that are the two-toed herbivores. Another interesting thing is that when it comes to the altitude that these two were spotted on by this trail camera, I'm quite shocked though that the Indian leopard, the common leopard, um, was, or at least is at this altitude. This isn't very common for them. But when it comes to the snow leopard, you can find snow leopards more than 17,000 feet above sea level, or what, over 4,800 meters. I'm just guessing. Nepali researchers have. Oh, okay. Let's see. So this was in the same location in the lap of Mount Gaurashankar in the eastern Himalayas. The recently analyzed images captured in Lapki Valley at an altitude of 13,000 feet, well, nearly 14,000, above sea level show a snow leopard strolling a human trail leading to the border with Tibet on January 4th, 2023. Yes, it is adjacent to the southern um, Chinese-Tibetan border. A common leopard was photographed by the same camera trap 7 days later. This is this is the first time that a snow leopard and a common leopard have been photographed in the same location in the Gaurashankar area. Conservationists traditionally considered endangered tigers as the apex predators of Nepal's southern plains. Vulnerable common leopards as roaming the country's hills, and vulnerable snow leopards as keeping farther north in the mountains. But that arrangement may be changing fast as the planet. Oh, geez. Gosh, they already mentioned this in the. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the other animals within the region. So you have the Markhor goat, which also inhabits the Himalayas as well as southern China, as well as different parts of northern India, Pakistan.
That doesn't look like a goat.
Um, Yes, this is a member of the Capricana lineage of mammals. And so it's a bit of a distant relative to North American mountain goats, European chamois, a bit more closely related to the ibex, which also inhabit the region. This is just simply well done Markhor goat drawing. These animals feed on the different species of shrubs and flowers as well as grasses within the region. Um, they can reach somewhere around 300 pounds or a little over 140 kilograms. And their horns, I believe, can reach over 40 inches in length, and that's not including like the
Is it the horns that make them so heavy?
I don't know how heavy their horns are specifically, but yeah, that's one reason. They're very well designed over hundreds of thousands of years. So let's see. Oh, okay. So in this region, you have the Himalayan ibex, which is the largest subspecies of ibex on Earth. This is also a relative of the Markhor goat, as well as North American mountain goats, European chamois. And these animals, well, oh, so Pyrenees or European ibex, as well as like Nubian ibex over the Middle East, parts of North Africa. But these animals can reach also around 300 pounds or a little over 140 kilograms as well. But they don't tend to compete too much with the Markhor goat for food, though they do inhabit some of the same terrain as the mountain goats, but I believe they have a bit of a larger distribution. It could also be due to the fact that they have just a higher abundance of their population. So let's see. According to Chetrai, the images were taken. Okay, is it just me or do they keep repeating themselves? A total of 26 camera traps were installed to cover an area of 141.63 square kilometers or 54.68 square miles. Interesting thing is that's probably the size of a female snow leopard's territory. Actually, that might even be quite large, but due to it being mountains, maybe it is a female. A male's territory would be at least um, three times that, so over 150 square miles. Researchers, including Chetrai, recently had been analyzing the 55,219 images taken by the camera traps when they came across a snow leopard and common leopard image. The conservation area is located south of the Kuomolangma National Nature Reserve, Tibet's largest nature reserve. If that's what I think it is, this nature reserve is somewhere around 30,000 square miles. It's um Geez, I believe it's like 10 times the size of Yellowstone National Park. It's, so immense.
You're saying the park, not Yellowstone itself.
Well, there's Yellowstone National Park, and then there's the Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem, which is, 4 more than 4 times the size of the park. So let's see. It is rich in both flora and faunal diversity due to its diverse physiographic and climatic zones. In July 2016, researchers studying China's Tibetan Plateau for the first time obtained video footage of a snow leopard and common leopard living in the same area. Similarly, in 2013, a team of Italian researchers analyzing scat samples from Sagamartha, Mount Everest National Park, also found that snow leopards and common leopards coexist in the same area. They observed that the cats exploit different prey species and separate their habitats. Okay, so I was wrong as for these things or these two species not coexisting with each other very often. Apparently, no, this has been occurring for at least 12 years. So this is quite interesting. They observed that the cats exploit different prey species, separate their habitats, while common leopards tend to prey on smaller, more abundant species in lower elevations. Snow leopards focus on larger, less abundant species at higher elevations, according to their findings. I wonder if the Indian leopards are going after like young domestic yaks. Maybe not the wild ones so much because not just because they're rare, but also they're much larger than the domestic yak. Researcher Bikram Shrestha, who has worked on snow leopards, says his team also captured images of both cats in the same area in a survey carried out between 2011 and 2013 in Nepal's Mustang region at an altitude of 4,500 meters or 14,764 feet. However, the finding hasn't been documented in a peer-reviewed study. Huh. Okay, so here is the back of a snow leopard. It's very nice of him. Thanks, pal. You seem to have a healthy coat. Question is this recently? I'm guessing. Okay, here's the leopard. No, the common leopard. He's also a bit agitated. I wonder if it flashed at him. He's just like, "Ow, my eyes." Okay. So various studies. Okay, let's skip this. Researchers have shown that no, come on. I just want to see more about, like, if anything, their behavior. I don't care about this. Um, if anything, poaching and disease are the big things, and low genetic variety. Okay, so Raisin Foonhawk Lama, who has been working with Himalayan communities to save snow leopards, says he believes that common leopards may have been sharing habitats with snow leopards in the past also. But in the past few years, as more and more camera trap images are showing the habitat of the two species overlap, common leopards could indeed be moving north. Yeah, but you also just claimed beforehand that they were probably already coexisting with them. Um, who knows, centuries or thousands of years prior. So, well, no, no, no. I mean, it just says in the past also, so it's nothing specific. Um, this just is one big, you know, uh, this is partially like an activist thing going on. But anyway, anything else? Okay, that's it. One more thing I wanted to mention is that there are the Himalayan wild yaks and yaks within the region. So domestic yaks, they reach somewhere around 1,300 pounds when referring to the males. Some can become a bit larger, but whereas the wild yaks can reach over 2,200 pounds or a little over 1,100 kilograms. So they're pretty large, mostly feeding on different species of grasses, I think possibly even lichen in the region. Okay, well, let me know what your favorite species of Himalayan mammal is in the area, and let's move on to the next article. Okay, by tricityvoice.com. What do we have here? Lion family sighted near Pleasant Ridge. So this was taken on January 31st, 2023. And I wonder if these are two adolescents traveling in the area. Excuse me. Mountain lions' continued presence highlights importance of wildlife connectivity. In a recent sighting at East Bay Regional Parks District's Pleasant Ridge, a mountain lion family consisting of a mother and her three kittens was observed, marking the second confirmed appearance of a mountain lion family in the area. Last year, a different mother mountain lion with three cubs was seen near EBRPD's Five Canyons Park, showcasing a positive trend of successful breeding within this region. So I think this is, I've heard of this area. This is located towards the outer eastern lands of San Francisco. So this is over in, I guess it's close to Northern California. But the thing is, there's this large area of land, and many of these areas are protected. And there's a wide variety of other protected areas further south and even to the north. But in this region, yes, you do have cougars within the area, as well as even the um, spread out herds of California mule deer, the specific subspecies mule deer within the area. And the mule deer, they can reach over for somewhere between 250 to 350 pounds. And you tend to have it where, especially during most of the year, the males are hanging out in their bachelor herds, and the females are simply in their own specific doe herds, and they have to watch out for pumas as well as coyotes within the region. These sightings are an encouraging sign of the local mountain lion population's resilience. However, the region's geography, bounded by major highways such as I 580, Highway 84, and I 680, poses significant challenges for these young lions. Dispersing kittens face considerable risks as they navigate the fragmented landscape, which could hinder their ability to establish new territories and thrive. Yeah, it is quite remarkable how in certain dense urban areas, um, animals like cougars have actually been able to avoid getting hit in many of the highways. But I have noticed that it tends to be cougars that traveled from much more just less developed areas, especially over in Utah or certain parts of Colorado. Unlike over in California. I could be wrong on that though. And most likely, a lot of the time, even these areas where there are larger areas of undeveloped land in between suburbs or cities, they actually do quite well managing the highways. But the wildlife corridors do help. So, what I mean by that is the wildlife bridges that have been built to allow different populations of animals to move across without having worried to get hit, like unless a plane or a helicopter hits them. The East Bay Wildlife Connectivity Project is actively addressing these challenges. This project, spearheaded by a team of experts from Alameda County Resource Conservation District, Mark Thomas and Dudek, aims to establish a network of wildlife crossings that will enhance connectivity across the region.
Are we talking about flying reindeer?
Mm, oh, yeah, that too. Um, By linking critical habitats and reducing wildlife collisions on Bay Area highways, the project seeks to ensure that mountain lions and other species can move safely across the landscape, promoting a healthier and more sustainable ecosystem. Oh, that's it. I thought there was more. Okay, well, just to mention real quick, there are also the tool elk. I don't believe in this specific area of land right between uh, like a smaller city and like there's some suburbs to the north as well as San Francisco to the west. But further north, there are different protected areas with the subspecies of tool elk within the region, which used to inhabit much of western and central California. So let's see. Okay, just technical difficulty. Oh, this individual, he's probably being supplemented with trophy rack because naturally, elk do not obtain this or just antlers was this type of a width. I mean, maybe it's possible in certain areas, and it just happens to be a really good year, and they're obtaining a large amount of calcium, phosphorus, sodium, and it's helping boost their antler growth. But this isn't very common. These animals
Look
can
kind of
also
flat.
what?
They look flat.
Oh, yeah, that is he okay, that's a good point. Yeah, they tend to be a bit more roundish, towards, the stem, but, he might be an older elk. It's very possible. So, let's see. Yeah, elk, they can get to somewhere around 11, 12 years. That's a pretty old elk. Yes, precisely the population of tall elk over in California, I believe it's somewhere between 20 and 30,000 individuals. And then north of that, you have the Roosevelt elk over in northwestern California and northeastern California. You have smaller populations of Rocky Mountain elk. And then there have been the small number of wolf packs that have been moving into Northern California. And it's very possible that, well, especially different mountain lion populations further north are going to be in competition with these wolves. And as well as they're going to have an impact on the elk herds towards the north. At least that I know of, it doesn't sound like the wolves have been preying on any livestock and they've just specifically been sticking to animals like elk, mule deer, and occasionally even feeding on coyotes. So, um, let me know what your thoughts are on mountain lions over in California, and let's move on to the next article. So, from ABC News. Go.com, new massive dinosaur measuring at 39 feet discovered in China. Well, depending on what part of the Mesozoic era this is might be quite interesting. Paleontologists have discovered a new species of plant-eating dinosaur measuring at 39 feet long, Huashanosaurus kanai, discovered in the Guangxi region of China, is part of a new genus and species of early eusauropod from the Jurassic period. The partial skeleton was found in the Shiwandashan Basin of the Wangmen Formation, a geological rock unit in southern China that contains fossils from the Jurassic period near the Mingjiang River. The findings contained fossils of vertebrae, ribs, humerus, ulna, fibula, and foot bones. Measurements of the recovered bones indicate that H. kini was likely about 12 meters or 39 feet in length and walked 39 feet long and walked on on four legs, according to the paper. So I'm guessing at this point, um, it hasn't mentioned though when specifically during the Jurassic. So it's hard to mention this or say when this is occurring, but also like what family of long necked sauropod could this individual belong to? I mean, if it's during the mid Jurassic, it could simply just be an Eusauropodomorph. I mean, if it's much later, like towards, well, mid Jurassic, somewhere around 165 to 175 million years ago, whereas the late Jurassic is somewhere around 150 million years ago. So we could be talking about a chimaerosaur, some sort of Chinese diplodocid, a brachiosaur. We don't know.
Please watch just said hi.
Hey, okay. So the Washonasaurus kini dinosaur discovered in Ningming County, Guangxi's Wang Autonomous Region, dates back to the early to middle Jurassic, making it the oldest known sauropod found in South China. This animal never existed because sauropods did not have feet that looked like this. So this individual is a little more promising. So what do we have here? I'm guessing that the colored in parts of the bones are the specimens that they discovered, and here's a handful of them. Hmm. Yeah, he might be some sort of sauropod. That's what I'm going to guess. He does have some sort of like a chimaerosaurid sort of a look, but it's definitely not some sort of diplodocid, brachiosaurid. Could be a predecessor, but we don't know. Researchers knew they were dealing with a new taxon based on the autapomorphy's distinctive derived characteristics of several parts of the skeleton. Well, also depending on the formation, I mean, if this is like one of the only animals in a certain area to be discovered, um, that can also partially link as to why it's could be a new taxon. But I guess the geography has little to do with it, as opposed to just the distinct characteristics, morphological characteristics of the specimen. The posterior process of the ulna, the larger of the forearm bones, is hook shaped. The proximal part of the ulna is crescent shaped, and a groove structure is present at the posterior distal surface of the fibula. Traits not seen in other species of sauropods may have helped with weight distribution on the massive dinosaur, according to the paper. That is interesting. Yeah, the problem is they came up with a length for this animal, but I think it's a bit, challenging as to state how heavy it might have been for its body size. It doesn't look like a lightweight animal, judging by this specific skeleton, um, at least that they're giving it. This could be somewhere around 5 to 7 tons if it's a 40-foot long animal, or 12 meters. The dinosaur likely resided in forested river and lakeside environments, which were prevalent in the region at the time. Also found at the site were some bony fish scales and teeth and incomplete plesiosaurian teeth. Oh, well, that's interesting. So it's also amongst a marine deposit. So that's why they're finding these saltwater fish as well as some unknown species of plesiosaur, indicating a humid climate and complex ecosystem. According to the paper, phylogenetic analysis reveals that H. kini is likely the oldest sauropod in South China, dating to the early to middle Jurassic, between 200 million to 162 million years ago. Oh, yeah, that's specific. What is that? 38 million years? I'm going to guess this is probably occurring. Geez, thanks. No idea. I would say somewhere between 170 175 million years ago, since that's when the first macronenians were evolving. So some of the larger true sauropods, but this is an eosauropod. This could be even further back, close to 200 million years ago. An eosauropod is a distinct lineage of sauropods before the macronenians would evolve, but it doesn't include animals like necessarily the plateosauromorphs, like Plateosaurus from the Triassic. This predates previously known sauropod fossils from the region by about 30 million years. It must be they must be talking about other formations. Okay, this is an older reconstruction of Mamenchosaurus. Tell because the feet are a bit off. But even I mean, when is this? Maybe 1970s? I don't know. There were great pictures back in the 1890s and 1900s by a paleo artist, Charles R. Knight. So, um yeah, Mamenchosaurus. It's a member of the Mamenchosauridae lineage of sauropods, and this animal had one of the longest necks compared to its body size. This animal could reach somewhere around 80 to 90 feet in length and possibly weigh somewhere around 30, probably 30 to 35 tons. Wasn't too stocky of an animal. The new species is the second used sauropod group derived from sauropods found in Guangxi. Hingyai Hingyai Donghensis. What is it? Is it just Chinese and then a little bit of Latin at the end? What's that about? We're just gonna make it kind of ting with the others. Okay, was excavated from the Dongxing Formation and was named a new genus and species in 2024. Sauropods are yes, we know this. Okay. Um, okay. Well, it's good to hear that we found another species of Eusauropod in China. Still kind of unknown as to how old it might be, but at least we have a 40-foot long individual. So let me know in the comments what your favorite species of Chinese sauropod is, and we're going to have some more articles popping up. Oh, that I have not seen yet. Okay, let's see what we have here. From dailygalaxy.com. A farmer stumbled on bones in his lake. It turned out to be the largest fossil ever found. A simple day's work led a farmer to uncover the largest blue whale fossil ever found, a discovery that stunned researchers. Well, this is something you don't hear about very often. Let me phrase that at all. It looks like an if that's the is that the jawbone? No. Mm-mm. In southern Italy, wow, this is where it occurred. I've heard about certain farmers over in the United States, like, finding, mammoths, but this was completely unexpected. Okay, let's see where, this leads to. Scientists have uncovered the largest fossil of a blue whale ever identified. A find that challenges long-held ideas about the origins of Earth's biggest animal. Detailed in the journal Biology Letters, the specimen suggests that these giants of the ocean lived 1.5 million years earlier than previously believed, forcing researchers to reconsider a key part of whale evolution. So, is this really like the distinct species of blue whale, not the pygmy blue whale? Wait, is that a subspecies? No, I believe it's a distinct species. The pygmy blue whale is somewhere around 90 tons. It's not a small animal, but, no, blue whales to the largest species can reach over 200 tons. Or, yeah, so let's see. In 2006, a farmer near Matera, Italy, noticed large bones protruding from the bottom of a lake he used for irrigation. What he had stumbled upon were vertebrae belonging to a massive cetacean. Lowering the water without damaging his harvest took 3 years, but the effort paid off. Um, Jeez. Now, okay, who knows? I mean, a lake can technically be anything over, be a something that's larger than 20 acres. So that's still not a small amount of water. A team led by paleontologist Giovanni Buonanucci of the University of Pisa eventually unearthed a skeleton measuring about 85 feet in length. Yet blue whales today, they can reach, on rare occasions, close to 100 feet. 85 is pretty average. That's still an immense animal. Although slightly smaller than modern blue whales, which can grow up to 100 feet, like I said, it's not very common. The true importance of the discovery lies in its age. So I think this is possibly a, this is the part of the skull? Hmm. For years, scientists believed that baleen whales, this refers to the family of cetaceans or whales with the baleen teeth to help filter krill and other small crustaceans, reached their enormous sizes only about 300,000 years ago. The theory was based on fossil records available at the time, but the Italian specimen, far older than expected, suggests that size increases occurred gradually, not in a sudden burst. That depends with, many cases of evolution. You can have it where in a very short amount of time, there's a rapid increase in size or a rapid increase in dwarfism. So it depends. The fact that such a large whale existed that long ago suggests that large whales had been around for quite a while. I don't think species can evolve to such a size overnight. By including this fossil in existing data sets, researchers had to push the most probable date for whale size increases back to at least 3.6 million years, and possibly as far as 6 million years. That's a big difference. Let's see. It's like either it's definitely it's been pushed back to the Pliocene epoch, which makes sense. I mean, you had except I'm not thinking of baleen whales, I'm thinking of, the giant toothed whales, some would call it even like giant sperm whales that coexisted with Otodus or Megalodon at the time. Oh, yeah, 3.6 million years ago, Megalodon was around back then. 6 million years ago now you have to remember Megalodon is one specific species. Technically, it belongs Megalodon, so it's species, and there's Otodus, the genus. It's like Tyrannosaurus Rex. Rex is a species, Tyrannosaurus the genus. Um, let's see. This was probably there were probably several or there are different several species of Otodus giant shark. Okay, and possibly as far as 6 million years ago. So this is towards the earlier stages of the Pliocene epoch. The Miocene would end somewhere around 8 to 9 million years ago. This finding directly challenges the earlier consensus and points to a much longer and more complex evolutionary journey. Whale fossils from more than 2.5 million years ago are rarely found because ancient remains often lie buried far beneath today's seabeds. That rarity makes the Matera whale even more valuable to science. Its skull, recovered in near complete form, is especially informative for understanding how these animals grew into such giants over millions of years. The discovery also supports the idea that changing ice ages and fluctuating sea levels during the Pleistocene. So this is during the Ice Age, the Pleistocene epoch, which started somewhere around 2 million years ago and would end at around 11,000 years ago, played a role in shaping the evolutionary path of the sea giant. Each new fossil helps fill in gaps about how environmental changes influence the growth of these colossal creatures. Okay, so um, okay, well, it's a bit of a confusing map. Trying to figure out, Petra. I don't know how to distinguish this. It's mentioning a certain family of baleen whales, the Balinopteridae, and then Pelocetus, the Bilontera. I don't know what to make up of this. It's has something to do, I'm guessing, with their evolution. Maybe where some are more related to each other in certain areas. I'm gonna keep going. For Ch Cheng Changshu Shai, who uncovered what may be the second largest fossilized whale ever recorded, the Italian discovery is no surprise. To be honest, this fossil does not surprise me at all, noting that he expects even bigger and older specimens will be found. I think he's just jealous that no what, never mind. Meanwhile, Marx continues work in Peru, where several large fossils remain unstudied. If those remains confirm his theory, they can provide even stronger evidence that baleen whales grew over long stretches of time rather than a rapid evolutionary leap. Okay, well, that's it. Um, okay, so it's possible that this animal was like around 85 feet in length. So I'm guessing if it's a species of blue whale, it was probably also close to somewhere around, 180 to 190 tons. It was also probably feeding on different species of krill, over in the Mediterranean at the time, which was, had completely well, to an extent, different species of fish. Don't, use this site. They always have it's always fake. Um, so what's another thing? And you probably had it where, Megalodon would have been feeding on these different baleen whales and even the toothed whales at the time as well. Okay, well, let's move on to the next article. Let me know what your favorite species of whale is in the comments. It doesn't just have to be from, um, today, it can be from the Pleistocene and Pliocene epoch as well. Okay, SciTechDaily.com. A 50-million-year-old sea turtle unearthed in Syria stuns paleontologists. Okay, so we're talking about the Eocene epoch. Wait, am I right on that? Yeah, and towards the very beginning of the Eocene epoch. And let's see, carapace of Cyramis leluensis. Genus name combines Greek words Syria and emus, Syria and means Syria and turtle. Okay, scientists discovered Sarai luensis, a 50-million-year-old fossil sea turtle from Syria, near the city of Afrin in Syria. An international group of scientists, including members of the Sekenberg Center for Human Evolution and Paleoenvironment at the University of Tübingen, has identified a previously unknown species of fossil sea turtle, named Ceramus loensis, under the direction of the University of Sao Paulo. Species dates back to the early Eocene, roughly 50 million years ago. So at this time, you already had so this is about, 16 million years after the dinosaur mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period, and at this time, you would have already had mammals that could have weighed as much as 3,000 pounds. So many tend to assume or, have an idea that mammals at this point were still quite small and, um just pretty much like the non like all of the dominant animals at this point were larger reptiles or possibly even like the so-called terror birds. But in reality, you already also had different species of large predators popping up, like weighing over 500 pounds in many instances. So um, let's see. The discovery consists of a fully preserved internal cast of the shell, along with sections of the ventral carapace, pelvis, and hind limbs. It represents the first fossil vertebrate species ever formally described from Syria. Wait, wait, it is from? No, this can't be right. How few? I guess. I mean, I haven't been really focusing on Syrian prehistoric life. I guess much of the Middle East in general. I say like the Arabian Peninsula. This can't that's shocking if that's true. The fossil shows an oval-shaped carapace that is well preserved, measuring 53 centimeters in length and 44 centimeters in width. For 13 years, the bone fragments from the Eocene period were stored in the office of the General Directorate of Geology and Mineral Resources in Aleppo after their recovery in 2010 during a quarry blast at Al Zarafay near Afrin. Together with colleagues from Brazil, Syria, Germany, Lebanon, and Canada, have now been able to scientifically describe this animal. The species, named Cyramus leluensis, represents the first and so far only fossil vertebrate to be formally described from Syria. That's just insane. The discovery also provides the earliest known evidence of the Stereogenianae, an extinct group of side-necked turtles, pushing their evolutionary history back by more than 10 million years. Oh, that's good to hear. That's quite interesting. So originally, they were thought to have only existed during the late Eocene epoch. Eocene ended somewhere around 36 million years ago. The fossil material includes a completely preserved internal mold of the carapace, along with portions of the ventral shell, pelvic bones, and hind limbs, some of which are incorporated into the cast itself. To help establish the fossil's age, researchers analyzed tiny foraminiferi extracted from the surrounding rock. During this time, though, Syria was not a desert. It was probably covered in forest at this point. These shell-bearing protozoa were crucial in determining the age of the fossil turtle. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's not a small species. I was wondering if it was going to be somewhere around this size or much smaller, like, small box turtle. This makes sense. Today, all members of the side-necked turtle family are semi-aquatic freshwater turtles. However, the now extinct Genini also inhabited saltwater habitats. Therefore, their fossils can be found all over the world: South America, North America, the Caribbean, Africa, and East Asia. Present day Syria was entirely covered by water throughout the Cretaceous period and until the late Miocene from 145 million years ago to around 5.3 million years ago. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was wrong on the habitat look of Syria. I must have been thinking further east in Asia. Um, this would probably make sense as to this wasn't hitting me either as to why we don't find almost any fossils within Syria, but you still have it where the Jurassic and beforehand, and then like in the past 5.3 million years. But okay, I'm not so sure about the ecosystems at that point though. Given this extensive marine past, it is no big surprise to Ferreira that a sea turtle was found there. However, the discovery of Ceramus luensis now adds a new geographical location to the distribution of Stereochinae, and there are clear indications of a possible origin of this group of sea turtles in the Mediterranean region. Oh boy. Oh. Uh, okay, so that's it. Okay, I'm glad Syria found supposedly a vertebrate, and more specifically, a species of Stereogeninian sea turtle. Um, Let me know in the comments what your favorite species of turtle is from the Middle East. There are actually a wide variety of different species, not just like different species of tortoises, but as well different species of soft-shelled turtles that occur there. Um, see who else. There might be also land-based, like terrestrial turtles within the region. Okay, well, let's move on. From news.mongabay.com, new bat species described from Western Himalayas. Well, this is interesting. Hmm. Okay, you're not that hideous. Something wrong with his face, though? Hope he doesn't have an infection. Uh, Unless they've been bit. I think his ears are okay. Okay, researchers reviewing the diversity of bats in the Western Himalayas in India recently confirmed a new design species from Uttarakhand state. Name the Himalayan long-tailed myotis, or Myotis himalaycus. In a new study, the bat boasts a tail nearly as long as its body. Wow, okay, that is abnormal. Usually, bats barely have a tail. Rahit Chakravarty, a bat researcher and conservationist with the nonprofit Nature Conservation Foundation, told Mongabe he first caught individuals of this bat in Uttarakhand during fieldwork for his PhD in 2016 2017. He collected blood samples for DNA analysis before releasing the bats. While the individuals did seem a bit different from other bats Chakravarti had seen, he didn't suspect at the time that they were an undescribed species. He told Okay. This subsequent DNA analysis shows that these bats had considerable genetic differences from other similar Myotis species. There's a wide variety of species belong to the Myotis genus of bats. I believe these animals feed on different species of moths, other types of insects. But the team couldn't describe it. But the team couldn't describe it as a new to science species based on genetics alone. For confirmation, they needed to study the morphology and anatomy of an entire individual in detail. For 5 years later, in 2021, Chakravartri said he finally managed to catch an individual for the analysis and put all of the pieces of the puzzles together. By then, Chakravartri had handled numerous Myotis species, and he could tell the individual was different. It had a distinctive bare patch around the eye and weighed about 7 grams or 0.25 ounces, some 2 to 3 grams or zero point zero 0.07 to zero point 0.1 ounces, heavier than the other similar Myotis species in the area. That's actually quite a big deal when referring to these Myotis species of bats. I say bats in general. A detailed examination of the external and anatomical features of the bats confirmed that it was indeed a new to science species. As we investigated the specimen closely, we found a suite of morphological, cranial, dental, and baculum, a bone in the penis found in certain mammals, characteristics unique to the species. So technically, animals like bears also have a penis bone. The researchers then stumbled upon a second specimen that turned out to be from the same species. It was an adult female bat collected by researchers on July 22nd, 1998, from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in neighboring Pakistan, about 700 kilometers or 435 miles west of Uttarakhand. The specimen was found in the Hungarian Natural History Museum's collections. This sounds similar to what happened with the new species of shrew that were found in like the um, Smithsonian's collection. Hmm. Both the Indian and Pakistani specimens were nearly identical externally and had been collected from a similar type of montane forest in the Himalayas. M or Myotis himalaycus, the author is right, is the only species within a group of bats called the Myotis frater complex that's known to inhabit the Indian subcontinent. All other Myotis frater complex species are known from Eastern Asia, including parts of China, Japan, and Russia, and Central Asia. Apart from the newly described Himalayan long-tailed Myotis, the taxonomic review of bats in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh states also confirmed the presence of the East Asian free-tailed bat, Tadarida insignis, so this is a different species or genus too, in India for the first time. Okay, I'm glad found a new species of bat in the Western Himalayas. We didn't even get info into what he was feeding on, but I'm guessing certain species of moths. And let me know, or I don't know, everybody, put in the chat what your favorite species of bat is. Maybe if you even like different species of fruit bats from Africa. We have there are bats over in different parts of Europe, North America. Many of them feeding on different species of smaller insects. Uh, okay. So let's move on from phys.org. Chance sighting during tiger survey leads to first of their kind photos in India of the smooth coated otter. So this animal weighs somewhere around 35 to 40 pounds and is a member of the mustelid family. And there's around 12 other distinct species of otter throughout the world. So let's see. Photographs of smooth coated otters captured in Nundar Range, I'm guessing over in India. So yeah, these are pretty good looking photos. During a tiger survey at a wildlife sanctuary in India, conservationists noticed a large sized mammal. The brief glimpse intrigued them and led them to set up more trail cameras for a better look at the smooth coated animal. I guess the majority of mammals are much less than 40 pounds. So that's why in modern day, you would call something like an otter a somewhat you can get away with calling it a large mammal. No, you could say technically it's not. These individuals tend to feed on different species of fish, crustaceans within the region, as well as hunting different species of mollusks. Okay, so the resulting photos were first of their kind record for the site. A team of researchers was setting up trail cameras at Nundar Wildlife Sanctuary in March 2024 to help estimate the tiger density when they saw an otter. Little is known about otter distribution in Uttarakhand. Oh, this is the same area where they found that new species of bat. The wildlife sanctuary had suitable habitat for otters, but no one had seen them in the area. Otters are pretty elusive. Regardless, well, okay, I'd say giant river otters are not so elusive. You can find them congregating different areas over in the marshes of Brazil, as well as different parts of the Amazon rainforest. Also, sea otters tend to make themselves quite visible. They're just, you know, swaying with the waves and munching on some mollusks or sea urchins. Okay, so let's see. The 10-day long survey worked. The trail cameras photographed the sanctuary's first confirmed sighting of smooth coated otters. Oh, this is good to hear. Two photos taken May 16th show a gathering of four smooth coated otters. The animals appeared to be looking and moving around a waterfront. A second set of photos, taken May 21st, showed two otters walking in between some large boulders. Smooth coated otters. Oh, here. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this makes um, much more sense to when it was occurring. Mm. Probably looking for smaller crustaceans, might even be going after spiders, some instances. Not really feeding on much vegetation. I mean, they might eat some occasionally, but like some flowers. Anyway, so let's see. Smooth coated otters are large sized otter species weighing up to about 24 pounds. I must have been thinking of another, possibly the Eurasian otter in their area is possibly where I mixed it up with the larger size. Smooth coated otters are a bit smaller. And let's see, the species is considered vulnerable and given highest level of protection in India. I think all animals have this sort of protection over in India. Let's see, who was I thinking of? There's also the clawless otter within the region, which is somewhere around the same size, possibly even slightly smaller. And they're called clawless because they do not have claws on their front paws, but they do on their back paws. Smooth coated otters typically form large vocal family groups, preying together on fish, shrimps, frogs, crabs, insects, and birds. Researchers suggest that future conservation efforts at Nundar Wildlife Sanctuary take into consideration the presence of these at-risk otters. It is imperative to conduct systematic surveys for otters in the Nundar landscape to determine their population and distribution patterns, thus ensuring their long-term survival. So, Nandur Wildlife Sanctuary is in Uttarakhand, a state of northern India, bordering Nepal and Tibet. Okay, well, it's good to see that these otters are repopulating this part of India, and they seem fairly healthy. Possibly even having pups or kittens with them. I think it's you call young otters kittens, just like rabbits or foxes, um, bobcats, lynx. Okay, so let's take a look at what's. Oh yeah, let me know what in the chat what you think about the otters showing back up in this part of India. Let's see. So, by vtdigger.org, why is Vermont's bear population booming? I thought that Vermont's like referring to the black bears in the region. There aren't any brown bears. Brown bears aren't native to this part of North America. Um, I didn't think it had the ability to further increase, unless I'm confusing it with New Hampshire, because Vermont's just west of state of New Hampshire. The state fish and wildlife department is leading a study to find out. So, what do we have here? Okay, so we got have a smaller individual. It's probably like 2.5-year old, a 3-year old. So yeah, he's still a cub. Vermont Fish and Wildlife staff measure a black bear as part of a newly launched survey for this summer. For the fourth year in a row, Vermont's black bear population size far outpaced what the state projected. Last year, the state had an estimated 6,800 to 8,000 bears, nearly double the objective of 3,500 to 5,500 bears. Okay, I'm guessing, huh? I I must have been, yeah, confusing it for another state. Outlined by Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department population model. Anyway, but looking at this number, this is an incredible amount for the size of Vermont. I think the state of Vermont is somewhere around 9 to 12,000 square miles. That's an immense black bear population. Why is the population doing so well? There are two big factors that determine population size. Let's see. Now here's the thing. They are competing with coyotes for like different species of berries, even insects in the region. You could say they're also competing with animals like raccoons. There used to be like the eastern gray wolf within the region, like back in the 1800s, 1700s, that would have kept the raccoon population in check. Also, they would have kept the coyotes out. Coyotes are not native to Vermont. Um, and so the black bear now technically wolves would have fed on berries too, but it would have been much less of an impact on berry production as to coyote numbers. So let's see. Why is the population? Oh, I already said that. The state has a pretty good sense of what is influencing bear mortality. Hunters are responsible for most premature bear deaths, followed by vehicle collisions, freak accidents like a bear chewing an electrical wire.
When
And
did the bear start driving?
oh yeah, uh, probably 1960s. The civil rights. Yeah, they have. Never mind. Can't. But this is unfortunate with the electrical wire. I think I'm used to just seeing bears, get stung by those little, electric fences, and there's like, "Mrr," and they run off. But that's sad. Can also cause a bear's early death. Still, populations are continuing to grow and grow. Looking at reproduction is kind of that missing piece of information that we don't have when it comes to understanding what drives that trend, according to Comu. Mm. A new study launched this summer aims to tackle that question and better pinpoint what type of habitat and food availability supports healthy bear birth rates. Since the 1980s, the backbone to steady population growth has been the wider recovery of suitable habitat for bears, Camus said, as forests grew back across the landscape previously dominated by deforestation and farmland. Well, the question is how much of your forest now in Vermont that's so supposedly recovered? Because a lot of rebounded forest within the eastern United States, even parts of the West, um, it's the forest, it's too dense. And the problem is with that, it's you have it where trees are competing with each other for a very small amount of food sources, and as well, there isn't any space like on the ground level for flowers to occur, different species of grasses, even shrubs that other animals rely on, not just for food, but even shelter, like bedding, especially for bears and deer. Now, some of these areas, they don't have it because it's too dense a forest. I'm guessing they're referring to better, bit more of open woodland. Let's keep going. The agricultural Vermont of the 1940s and 1950s left bears confined to the spine of the Green Mountains. Green Mountains are towards the northern part of, Vermont. She said in those areas, killing bears was far more common without the hunting regulations and restricted season Vermont has today. Um Still, the Fish and Wildlife Department would like to better understand how availability of different food sources might influence where the bears go and how successful they are in reproduction, especially as they spread down from the mountains. Yeah, this is what I was wondering. I'm like, we're not getting any info as to the overall, like, some of the behavior of the bears, like what they're feeding on. I'm guessing this study is going to take a dive into it. It is quite shocking, like some of these states, and there really isn't a whole lot of info on even black bear feeding behavior. It's more, it's a bit better known over in states like New Hampshire, Maine, if you're talking about the New England region, even certain parts of New York State. Now, despite some of these areas looking like they have a somewhat of a similar ecoregion or ecosystem look, it's usually like if you look at these areas during the fall and they can resemble each other, there's actually quite a difference. Now, certain parts of New England are basically like the same ecoregion, and others, they're a bit distinct. Definitely when you go from the coastal regions over to the northern mountains, like the White Mountain National Forest over in northern New Hampshire. I believe is similar to the Green Mountain region over in Vermont, but higher elevations in northern New Hampshire. In the mountains, beech nuts are bears' primary fall food source, but the tree's nut production pulses every 2 or 3 years. Um, this is actually quite normal with different species of trees, and also not just in the eastern United States, but also in different parts of the western United States. Um, Even I think if you go into certain parts of Canada and even parts of Europe and Asia where bears might rely on different species of nuts, the trees aren't certain species of trees aren't going to have the same production every year. Historically, bear populations have risen and fallen with these cycles. Now that's interesting. I wouldn't think that the nuts themselves, considering this is only occurring for a short part of the year, like a little over a month in some cases, maybe two on a good year. But um, I would think you would have to do with a wide variety of food sources, especially insects. Like, for instance, in areas where bears, black bears specifically, don't feed on as many deer. Now, here's the thing, they're not mentioning this. Black bears, they're one of the biggest, in some states, they are the biggest predator of white-tailed deer fawns. Um, but where they don't have as much access to them, they will switch it for mostly feeding on different species of ants. So they love feeding on ants and termites. In the valleys, oak
Wait,
trees.
who eats the moths?
Oh, well, they do too. Raccoons will eat moths, occasionally like coyotes in the region. The minks, so a wide variety of different species of mustelids or weasels in the region.
No, I meant the thing about
Bats.
where they eat no, remember where they eat a lot of moths?
Oh, you're talking about grizzly bears over in
Oh, okay.
Yellowstone. Those are the cutworm army moths. I don't believe they're found in this region. So that's over in northwestern Wyoming or Yellowstone National Park, or the greater Yellowstone ecosystem where that occurs with grizzly bears. Possibly over in the Glacier National Park. Not entirely sure, though. I know at least in Yellowstone, in the Middle Rockies. So in the valleys, oak trees and thus acorns are more abundant and more consistent. Oh, yeah, especially the suburbs probably help the black bears a lot, just the abundance of, certain nuts. We're wondering if now that the bear population has moved out of the mountains, if they're accessing higher quality habitat where food is more consistent. Now that they're in the valleys, potentially the habitat might be more productive and allowing their populations to grow. To answer that, the department study follows 18 adult female bears fitted with GPS tracking collars that allow biologists to see where the bears are, presumably getting food. Study aims to isolate these two distinct habitat areas by looking at 9 bears in the Connecticut River Valley and 9 others in the southern Green Mountains. Hmm. Well, this is okay. This is going to be quite something. Um, this is actually a very large research project that they're doing. In the winter, the scientists will visit the bears' dens to confirm how many cubs a mother has, with the intent of following the family and cub survival through their first year of life. Yeah, some of these research projects, they've gone to some lengths to just, venture into the dens, and they have to tranquilize the mother too, uh, before they, have access to the cubs. So let's see. Um, okay, with the intent of following the family and cub survival through their first year of life. Fish and Wildlife anticipates letting the survey run for 6 years in order to collect enough data to draw conclusions. Better understanding the conditions in which bears are thriving allow the department to better protect and manage their habitat. The prosperity of Vermont's black bear society ugh. The prosperity of Vermont's black bears is a rare success. As many species decline, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I think a lot of species in Vermont, um, are rebounding. Now, I think the moose population might have had certain issues, but I'm thinking also, like, back in 2018, 2019, when they were experiencing a massive, tick boom, and it was having an impact on moose during the winter. Negative impact was also, like, just, some warmer and, wetter winters, so it just occurs now and then over in New England, but I haven't checked on them recently. Oh, so is that it? Oh, so blacks are especially flexible when it comes to habitat and food. As omnivores, they can survive off multiple food sources, and their wide range from Florida and Mexico to Canada shows they can adapt to a variety of habitats and temperatures. You also have to remember you have distinct subspecies in these areas, which have evolved to these types of climates. You could still probably stick in um, certain subspecies of black bears to certain regions, like, if the climate's somewhat similar, but I wouldn't stick a black bear from, like, Banff National Park over in Alberta, Canada, to, like, Chihuahua, Mexico. That would be horrible. It's just, uh, completely different food sources, and I think, like, the heat, dryness would be too much. I think the one like, if you stuck one from Mexico to Canada, it would have a better time, but, uh Canada doesn't need more black bears being sent to it. Let's see. Still, it does not mean that a changing climate oh, jeez. Come on. Okay. Comau worries what the encroachment of beech leaf disease in Vermont's forest will mean for the bear population over the next decade. I've heard of this disease occurring on different beech trees over in New England, different parts of the northeastern United States having an impact, possibly even southeastern Canada. Okay, let's see. That's it. Okay, well, it's really good to hear that the black bears are increasing population over in, in Vermont. Hopefully I don't think this disease is going to have too much of an effect, but that's at least my guess at the moment. There really aren't any predators or, towards the black bears. They're pretty much the largest predator within the region. Coyotes, unless it's a cub or, a year-old black bear, they're not really much of a threat. Okay. So, let's see. Oh, let me know in the chat what you think about these black bears. Like, how much you think that they're able to consume in nuts during the fall months?
How many black bears are there in the United States?
If we're not including Canada and Mexico, I'm going to guess there's probably somewhere around 250 to 300,000.
Oh, I thought there were more
Well, if you include, um, well, there, I think there used to be more. There are areas of um, like the Midwest, different parts of the Eastern United States that still have yet to be recolonized.
How many are in North America?
Somewhere between 600 and 700,000. So they're the most common bear on Earth. After that, it's the brown bear. Okay, so, let's see. Oh, so from the SeattleTimes.com. In Yellowstone, migratory bison reawaken a landscape. Okay, let's see what this is about. A photo provided by Chris Tremia, National Park Service, shows a fixed enclosure of one of the researchers' grazing lawn sites in midsummer. Fixed enclosures were installed in spring and stayed up. Yeah, obviously they weren't feeding there. I wonder where this is, like the um, Lamar Valley, possibly, is where the Lamar herd of bison would exist. And then there's the, Hayden Valley and the Hayden, bison herd. Tens of millions of okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, uh, let's see. It's not giving any, um I'm
I
trying to
didn't
find
read it, I just read the title.
yeah, I'm trying to find useful information. Okay. The study, published last Thursday in the journal Science, examined how bison change the soil and vegetation along their migratory route. Outwardly, the effect can look like overgrazing, but the researchers found that bison essentially allow plants to keep growing. By grazing and moving on, the animals increase the density of microbes and nitrogen, an essential chemical for plant growth in the soil, improving the nutrition for herbivores by up to 150% in some areas. Well, we already knew that, um, bison, like, have a rotational grazing sort of, um, feeding behavior, so they constantly move. Different from, like, what the wildebeest do in, um, over in, like, the Serengeti in northern Tanzania and southern Kenya. Um,
I thought you told me all migratory animals like that help this.
no, they do, but, yeah, I don't exactly understand what's new here. Um, or even what the 150% is supposed to compare it to, yeah, there's just not really much to, say here. Um, let's see, yeah, I think there's somewhere around 6,000, 6,500 bison within Yellowstone, um, separated by those 2 distinct herds. You don't have any outside gene flow, though. Okay, so, let me know in the comments, what you think about the state of, or even in the chat, what you think about the state of bison over in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. So by sfgate.com, coyotes are swimming all the way to San Francisco's Angel Island. I don't think I know where that specifically is. I think it's very close to the coast, though. So it's Angel Island. Staff at Angel Island State Park were on one of their morning boat runs last week when they came across an unusual sight. As the seagulls soared over the deep water, they noticed the creature's head first, assuming it must be a seal when its large ears came into view. However, they realized it was no marine mammal, but one of Angel Island's resident coyotes paddling across Raccoon Strait in San Francisco Bay and headed in the direction of Tiburon. The canine made about half a mile round trip journey before eventually turning back and climbing to shore at Ayala Cove. Okay, so, coyotes are native to Western California. So, possibly not necessarily native to the island, but I'm not completely sure. Coyote is swimming. Probably, um, I wonder what he's looking for. This is a bit strange. He's definitely a good swimmer. Better watch out for those otters, though. They can put up a fight. Swimming here seems like a bit of a fluke. The chance encounter captured on camera provides a glimpse into Angel Island's elusive coyote population. that researchers are studying to learn more about their behavior.
Wouldn't an otter just drown the coyote?
It's very possible. Let's see. Dexter Lee has been living and working at Angel Island for the past 24 years and never saw a single coyote there for much of that time. Then, one day in 2017, a ranger in her first year at the state park claimed she spotted one through the window of her residence. Her housemate quickly dismissed the observation and told her she must have been seeing things. Coyotes didn't live on Angel Island. If a visitor had told us about it, we definitely would not have believed them. So when another employee claimed he saw one crossing a fire road a couple of months later, we interrogated him. They wanted to know where it was, how long it had been in the area, and if he had seen it before. Was he sure it wasn't a dog? He assured them it wasn't. After years of working in Death Valley, he knew a coyote when he saw one. That must be a boring island. If you're like, is it a coyote? Okay. If a visitor had told us about it, we definitely would not have. Wait, you just said that. What? Okay. From there, our mission was to get a photograph. Um, Park staff posted signage throughout the island asking visitors to help by snapping a photo if they saw a coyote from a distance. It was a third employee who got the shot of the animal, but its tan fur was camouflaged by the dry grass it stood in. It was like the Where's Waldo of coyote pictures. By then, at least, they had confirmed their suspicions. So here is, yeah, Waldo. The coyote after reaching land at Ayala Cove. Oh, yeah. There's flatter areas, there's beach areas. Probably just had to swim a little more before he could finally get onto land. Late at night, staff could hear the lone animal howling as it communicated back and forth with other coyotes in nearby Tiburon. Not long after, a second coyote swam out to join it. The first litter was reported in 2019, and as of last year, the pair are responsible for growing a population of at least 14 coyotes on Angel Island. That sounds yeah, that doesn't sound good. That's probably an inbred pack. Okay. Let me see. Well, that's interesting. Bill Miller, an environmental scientist for California State Parks and one of the staff on the boat when the most recent coyote sighting occurred, said his team is working with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife on a multi-year study to glean more information from the coyotes and their broader impacts on the local ecosystem. The island may hold the record for the state's highest documented density of deer. Okay, so I have not looked into this island. Um, Apparently, I guess it's not too boring because there are deer on the island, but um, I guess it's just there aren't really any predators there, unless there could be gray foxes, but I'm not sure. According to Bay Nature, the deer could be impacted alongside species that are endemic to the island, like the Angel Island mole. Part of their work includes collecting DNA samples from the coyote scat, which help park staff determine the current population estimate as well as what they're eating. Results from data gathered last October revealed their diet is primarily made up of invasive species like black rats and house mice. Yeah, it's a for certain coyote populations, pretty typical, but also much smaller percentages of chicken and pork. I guess they're raiding the dumpsters. Coyotes do that. Um, or there's livestock on the island. I'm not sure. Or there's a fast food. Never mind. Anyway, Um, those can likely be traced back to food accidentally dropped by visitors. Accidentally. If not intentionally fed to the animals, which park staff discourage. Okay, well, there's a lot of wind over there. I could understand it. But as Dexter Lee told Bay Nature last November, deer aren't off the menu. She's found a hoof in coyote scat before. Canids love hooves. Okay, so and said park staff hasn't seen any of the prey animals grow into adulthood. since the first coyote litter was introduced. Wait, what? That's not good. They're eating all of the fawns. You're not shooting them? Okay. She told SF Gate that raccoons, which were once a common sight both day and night because they had no true predators on the island, have all but vanished. Okay, I don't believe raccoons are native to this region, but um, so that not so angry about. It's like yeah, that's fine, but eating all the fawns, that is not good. And also we have an inbred population of coyotes. Just
Are raccoons native to anywhere?
you mean outside of the eastern United States and parts of Canada? Yeah, their raccoons aren't necessarily native to really even the western United States. They're invasive much of the area. Parts of northern Mexico, I think it's a bit of a question. They might be native to that region, but definitely where they've invaded Japan, Germany, well, actually different parts of Western Europe. Actually, no, I think raccoons are pretty much ventured throughout most of mainland Europe. But yeah, Japan, it's pretty bad. It's what's occurred. It was due to a cartoon back in the 70s, 60s or 70s, 1960s or 1970s, as to why all of a sudden raccoons were being brought into Japan. And everyone thought that it would just be like their buddy. And pretty much everybody found them too much of a hassle to work with. And they ended up just releasing them to the forests, and now they're damaging much of the infrastructure. So, um, yeah, out of all of the areas that they ate them, it's like, you know, that's a bit unfortunate. Since the first coyote sighting on Angel Island almost a decade ago, Dexter Lee said she's seen the animals a handful of times on her morning runs, but only once in the water last April. Swimming is definitely rare to see. Staff can only speculate as to why the animals are taking a dip, but seeking out more territory, chasing prey, or seeking out a mate are all possibilities. It's a testament to their adaptability. We do know coyotes have been expanding south into Marin County and to San Francisco. That's north. Wait, hold on a second. Was that San Francisco that showed the? I don't remember. They're already taking exploratory things like going across the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, I think it's adjacent to San Francisco. So it's not a stretch that they would maybe by accident get swept across to Angel Island or intentionally do that. Oh, hmm, okay. You see, this type of a picture makes you not want to harm him. You're just like, no, leave that individual. After Angel Island State Park shared the footage on Instagram, some commenters expressed concern about the safety of the coyote and whether it needed help. But Dexter Lee said it was exhibiting natural behavior. She highlighted how in the video, one of the staff can be heard saying they didn't want to harass the animal. Hmm. Coyotes are good swimmers. We try very hard not to interfere with natural behaviors of wildlife whenever possible, as long as it's not in conflict with visitors. Let the animals do their thing. Okay, well, okay, we're going to do one last one. Um, Let me know in the chat what you think about the condition of coyotes in California. I know they're quite abundant within the state, but um, especially their impact over on different populations of deer. Okay, so moving on. News.bangabay.com. Mongabay. From beavers to bison, England's rewilding revolution. I've been hearing about this for many years now, at least since like 2017 or 2016, about England bringing back European bison, brown bears, beavers, wolves, moose, everybody. This looks like Wales, or this is the northern part of England adjacent to southern Scotland. Anyway, in a recent conversation with Mangabe's Mike Di Garolamo, rewilding advocate and financer Ben Goldsmith described a quiet but proud transformation taking place in England's relationship with nature. The change is visible in the return of species like the Eurasian beaver, once trapped out of the British Isles for centuries. Farmers and planters who once saw the animals as a pest are now, excuse me, more likely to regard it as an ally, capable of slowing floods and storing water in an increasingly volatile climate. A volatile climate. Goldsmiths, yeah, England is easily subjected to massive floods. Goldsmith traces this shift to both culture and policy. On the cultural side, a growing public appetite for more nature and more connection has made wildlife restoration a mainstream idea. On the policy side, the Agriculture Act of 2020 replaced unconditional farm subsidies with payments tied to ecological stewardship. Landowners in less productive upland regions, unable to compete in commodity markets, now have financial to res- incentives to restore wetlands, plant wood pasture, and create habitat for pollinators. The results are emerging. Cattle and okay, where are the beavers or
Okay,
the
this isn't what
bears?
I was thinking it was.
There's nothing on here. What on earth? Yeah, it just says remains hesitant about reintroducing lynx wolves despite overabundant deer and degraded forests. Yeah, there are quite a few areas of not just England, but over in Scotland, possibly Wales as well, where there's just an overabundance of roe deer, fallow deer, red deer in different regions. There's also some Chinese species of deer. There's another invasive species of deer as well. They even inhabit different, suburbs in some areas, like urban regions of, the larger cities over in England. Okay, well, this, will be the final one, from IFLscience.com. Ready, set, chunk. Fat Bear Week 2025 is about to begin, and yes, it's early. I've been keeping a bit up to date on some of the Kodiaks over in the Kodiak archipelago of Alaska, and yes, they have been putting on a lot of weight this year. Um, Also, a bit of an earlier time compared to normal. Let the battle for the thickest bear of them all commence. I'll bite a few weeks earlier than usual. I'll bet. I'll bet. So, could Chunk, pictured here, finally take the crown? Okay, what's his specific name? He looks like an older bear. Hmm. We come bearing great news. Fat Bear Week is arriving early this year. Okay. You've heard of. Okay. These are the brown bears of Alaska's Katmai National Park and Preserve. And the title that they're competing for is the chunkiest bear of them all. They're also, by the way, at this point, what is it? Early September. They still have at least like 2 to 3 months, in some cases more, but not sure about this year. Though there are certain individuals, even on good years, that just don't put on a whole lot of weight for some reason. But they're still going to be putting on more weight, not just from berries that they're going to be feeding on, but as well other species of salmon or different migrations moving in, even as far or as late as December. Many just tend to assume it only occurs during the summer. It goes well into the fall. And best believe this is a week of bear related body positivity. Everyone is celebrating how deliciously rotund the bears of Katmai are. So strong is the fandom behind these bears that it takes over social media feeds every year, with people showing no hesitation in loudly supporting their favorites. Okay. Typically, the competition occurs in early October, but we've had an early fall surprise with the National Park Service announcing on social media that this year's competition will run from September 23rd to 30th, 2025. If that's not enough to satisfy your desire for ursine chunkery, it's referring to bears in general, ursidae or the ursine, um, ursinae, subfamily of ursidae. The younger bears of Katmai will be taking part in Fat Bear Junior starting September 18th to September 19th. Okay, that's I haven't heard of Fat Bear Junior.
The
Luckily,
article just looked funny.
yeah, luckily for the team at Katmai, no one is actually popping these bears on a scale. Well, actually, that would be nice, but yeah, anyway. The cost of the insurance for whoever they'd hired to do that doesn't bear thinking about. Instead, the bears are pitted against each other in a daily public vote for the thickest in the land. Two bears are eliminated each day, and by the end of the week, voters have to pick a winner from the final two. This does mean that whoever comes out on top might not actually topple the scales. But hey, even the smallest of bears can still have big bear energy. Let's just hope there's not any voter fraud this time around. It's a matter of survival. It's fast approaching the time for hibernation, and while in their metabolic slumber, bears can lose up to a third of their body weight, piling on the pounds. Okay, yeah, Brooks River. So this is that famous waterfall over in Katmai National Park in southern Alaska. It's still on the mainland. It's not over on Kodiak Island. Oh, oh, it's only 6 seconds. You just catch the fish, not the fish. You got it. We're yet to find out who will be in this year's bracket, but it's likely to include some past favorites. There's a much loved Mother Bear and reigning champ Razor, formerly known as Bear 128. She's won the previous two competitions. The last year's win was particularly poignant for fans as she beat out Chunk 32, who was behind the death of one of her cubs earlier in the year. Um, not sure what exactly means by that. Like it killed her cub? Um, we've been keeping an eye on Katmai's webcams, though, and Walker 151, who's heavy every year and yet has never won, is looking pretty hefty already. Okay, well, it's good to know. Based on other observations that the bears over, at least in Katmai National Park and Preserve, are, doing very well. I think the area is somewhere around, 1,600 square miles, in size or a little over it's yeah, I believe so. I think there's somewhere around, what, 1,800 bears at least in the area. There could be more. But, they are closely related to the ones over and Kodiak Island. They're the same subspecies, so these individuals can reach over 1,600 pounds. Okay, well, um, that's it for today. From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals